Thank you for inviting me for this presentation. My name is Michele SALVI. I work for ZHA Architect and I'm an associate director with the company. I'll start from where I was to not make it too long. I mean, I was showing a few projects. I can maybe make a very short recap on the projects in the region and Vilnius. So this is Tallinn Master Plan, we designed in 2016. Ropac Ferry Terminal in Riga with the series of balconies overlooking the city and the harbor. This is another project we didn't get. It was a competition we were not successful with, but it was an interesting project for the regeneration of the Kimmel Quarter, which is a brewery factory. Was interesting because it was an historical, an integration of the new design in an historical context. And we had to preserve the existing building facade and integrate it into this new contemporary design, where we also tried this idea of recycling the bricks from the demolition of the parts of the building that would be demolished, this complex. These are a few images of the interiors with this wooden structure and the internal courtyard with the facade wooden structure wrapping up the building. I'm going to touch a bit more in detail on 4 projects today. The first of which is the Ülemiste train terminal in Tallinn, Estonia. This is a transport hub that we designed since 2019 and is now in construction stage. The design concept starts from the idea of these light streams with the intent to connect through the design with a very seamless and smooth solution, different directionality. The one of the trains that are, let's say, breaking into the city at the moment, but also the directionality of the passengers that wants to cross the tracks. And we came up with this series of flows of very fluid lines, which are connecting these two parts of the project, which translate then in the interiors with the creation of these skylights and windows on the facade, which are, with the use of the light is driving passengers through the terminal, from the entrances, through the space, and through the platforms. The project is not only a transport hub, but is also an opportunity to revitalize the Ülemiste area, this part of the city which is currently broken into by the railway infrastructure. So we created 2 squares with a number of commercial activities and open-air activities on both sides of the railways. And in the wider scenario, the possibility of crossing the railway will reconnect the old historical center through the terminal and the series of external areas designed around it, down to the Vilnius airport. And Tallinn is a small city, and you can actually walk from the city center through the airport through our terminal. Transport hub, of course, with the not only train terminal, but also bus station, a number of bus stops, car park for private vehicles, taxi drop-off, and all these different means of transport are connected by a series of canopies, which are sheltering the path of the people to exchange between different means. And it's a very pedestrian and bike-friendly project because people can cross the railway from underneath with the creation of this underpass, 30 meters wide, with a number of commercial activities, which is open 24 hours. Or passengers can cross the railway on top of the tracks by entering the terminal with the beautiful view and point of view of the city. And again, this stream of lights, the skylights with the light filtering down, is welcoming passengers since the entrances. This is a snapshot of the north entrance, and driving passengers through the space, through the main galleries, the commercial activity hosted in the terminal bridge, and then down to the platforms with a very, very intuitive and efficient wayfinding for passengers. A number of external areas are involved in this project with these two squares I was showing before, and these are not only squares or external areas where you pass through to reach the terminal, but we have the ambition to create a proper destination point for people to meet here. There are a lot of green areas, external activities, and so on, to revitalize these two parts of the city. And we have seen how this has been reflected also in the property values, because we recorded an increase of 30-40%, and there's a lot of development happening in the surrounding area. A lot of other developers are activating and transforming the area around the station. We are now on site. The building is under construction, but the first platform has already been activated. Trains are already stopping, and meanwhile they are excavating on the other part, on the southern part, and the terminal will be built on top of the tracks and completed in 2030. Another station project now in Vilnius, Lithuania. Many of you may have seen this. It's another transport hub, another Rail Baltica station, which will connect the Baltic countries to the Southern Europe railway network. We won this competition in 2021. Now the station itself is a little bit on hold because of the delays with the Rail Baltica line. But we have already started to design the rest of the project, which is the northern part with the Stoty Square and bus station. The main concept of this design, same as per the Tallinn project, was to connect the two parts of the city and create one unique system which integrates outdoor and indoor activities. And we do that by extruding towards south the outline of the existing rooftop of the existing building station and create this fluid, let's say, architecture that flows towards south, spanning across the tracks and expressing the new facade towards this side of the railway, creating this new external areas with a lot of activities and hopefully redeveloping also a part of the city which is at the moment not very active. But at the same time, we wanted to be very respectful of the heritage building of the existing station, and the new terminal spanning over the tracks is barely visible from the Stoty Square, where the preservation of the existing building has to prevail. The project includes not only transport systems, but also exhibition areas, multi-event space, management offices, and different external areas. The main idea of the project was to transformate the external spaces and get rid of this huge barrier created by the vehicular traffic with this big roundabout right in front of the station, and prioritize pedestrian and bike-friendly approach for the overall development. So we wanted to extend the green area across Stoty Square, across Stoty Street, and on top of the bus station terminal, creating this amphitheater which can be used for events, public events in summertime. And the overall layout is based on the very strong symmetry axis imposed by Stoty Square itself and the geometry of the existing station. The opportunity to connect the two parts of the city with this bridge spanning over the tracks is also adding an additional element, which is this 150 meters long pedestrian and bike connection, which is open to the public 24 hours, independently from the opening hours of the station. And this allows to perceive the train infrastructure, not only, but not rather as a barrier, as it is usually perceived within the city context, but rather as a connection between the historical city and the new development at south. There are a number of external areas involved with public events for the space for public events and concerts, green areas, meeting points for people, kids playground, markets, and other external activities, especially on summertime. And the station structure has been told to be made of timber structure. We have a concrete bridge spanning over the tracks, but above the main level, the entire structural system is made of wood, which blends with the interior design and the light filtering down from the skylights. Another project in Vilnius, Vilnius Business Stadium Center, in this case almost completed. This is an office building that we designed for our client Hanner within the business stadium complex. And it's a building enclosed within the surrounding existing offices and hotel development, and overlooking towards this internal plaza that will become a meeting point for people and activities, especially on summertime. The volume articulation is generated on the base of the requirements of the internal program. So we articulated these two low-rise towers connected by a podium, a ground floor, and also a sky bridge at level 5, with this gently curved facade, which are bending towards the neighboring building to create this series of cross views, and also this stacked terraces overlooking towards the square and towards the city. The design is influenced by this strong idea of the dynamism, with this balconies peeling out from the facade and creating this very, very dynamic tension of the building, which is also in a way inspired to the Palace of Concert and Sport, which is located in the neighboring surrounding, to which we want to refer. This is a brutalist building from the 70s. We know it's a controversial building in Vilnius, but we took inspiration in terms of dynamism of the whole complex, which can be recognized in the geometry of our design. The 25,000 square meters of the program are articulated between the two towers, with the large majority of offices, but also a commercial component hosted in the podium in the main ground floor, with commercial activities which are independently accessible from the square and from outside. And then we have a food and beverage component overlooking towards the central atrium, which is sheltered by a transparent skylight. And at the top of the main towers, a couple of floors are occupied by a spa and wellness center. And again, with this series of terraces overlooking towards the square and creating this series of cross views, references. This is a snapshot of the early design stages for the central courtyard, with a lot of activation of this interior space as well, and offices overlooking into it, and the view from the spa at the top of the main building, with a beautiful view of the city and the surrounding areas. This project was a very, very fast-track journey from September 2022, when we started very early concept for this design. And today, after about 36 months, the project is almost completed. many of you may have seen already, the facade is actually completed, and the interiors will come up very soon. We are very happy of the final result with this idea of the dynamism, which is still embedded in these images, and with these balconies which are peeling out from the facade and create these shadows, and yeah, we believe that in a way the initial design intent is kept, and we are very happy of the result. There was a lot of rationalization involved in the very early stages, because we wanted to make sure that we could keep the original design intent, but we wanted to make it buildable with traditional and standard construction techniques. So we rationalized the facade to be made of repeatable elements, which can be rationalized to be flat and standard also in the most curved part of the facade. And you can see from the final images that this is not affecting the dynamism of the architecture, which is still very fluid and dynamic. There was a lot of study in terms of panelization of the facade. We wanted to make sure that the facade pattern is very consistent between the partition of the glazing frames and the joints of the aluminum cladding as a scheme that adapts on the body of an animal. This panelization has been developed also based on the let's say constraints imposed by the contractor and the capabilities by the suppliers. So there was a lot of study to make it very consistent, and the final outcome is very it's very well. I mean, we are very happy. I mean, we see that this is very much consistent with the geometry of the building. Yeah, this is some of the final images. I think you can pass by and see this one. The area is fenced out at the moment, but it's going to be open very soon. The last project I want to show is our design for the arrival terminal of Vilnius Airport. This is a project, very ambitious project that wants to extend the capability of the current airport, which is 4 million passengers per year, through a number of construction phases, and phase 4 that will increase the capacity to 13 million passengers per year. With this design, we wanted to meet the most contemporary aviation demands, and the airport has to be very efficient and very contemporary. But at the same time, we wanted to reflect the Lithuanian culture into this project. So after, in the very initial design stages, there was a lot of brainstorming with our local architects, and we came out with this idea of the Lithuanian straw garden and the combination of it with the traditional Lithuanian motifs of the fabrics, traditional fabrics, and these geometrical patterns are in a way translated into our design to blend in a way the local cultural heritage with the contemporary design declination, and the final outcome is this very iconic, this very simple gesture. No complex geometry involved. It's actually all very flat and simple and easy to build, but with a very strong identity and recognizability for people arriving to the airport, but most importantly for people arriving by plane, because this is the main gateway to Lithuania, and we want to make sure that the impression of all the people traveling from and to Lithuania can get a glimpse of the local culture. And this strong recognizability and identity is replicated in all facades on all sides of the building. There are a number of drivers that contributed to develop this design. I'm going to touch on some of them, starting from the idea of the symmetry of the overall complex, which was imposed by the competition brief, with the central historical building, which is preserved by heritage, and two counterparts, the T4, the departure terminal, which has been completed recently and is already activated to the left of this image, and our future arrival part terminal that wants to be a counterpart of the departures, creating this very symmetrical composition and with a design language which is also very much referred to the arrival, to the departure terminal existing. One of the main challenges of the project is the phasing of the construction. The project is articulated in 4 different phases, starting from the orange part, which is the terminal T5, the first part of the terminal, the L-shaped element that you see in the middle of the screen, is the phase 1 building of the terminal with some of the external areas, the drop-off for the taxis. In second phase, we add the airport plaza in pink, which is going to be this new mega atrium spanning between the 3 main terminals, and will become the main space of the airport where all passengers will pass through, either arriving or leaving the airport. Phase 3, it's a small part, but very important because it's the completion of the T5 terminal after the navigation tower will be finally demolished. And then the future extension highlighted in blue here with the creation of 2 additional terminals and 1 hotel and car park component in front of the airport. As you can imagine, the phasing of this design creates quite a number of challenges, not only for the articulation of the passengers flow internally, but also for the articulation of the volume. In phase 1, the terminal is broken by the presence of the navigation tower. So we have to design a building which is not completed yet, but still functional and efficient. And the facade itself, you can see from the images to the right, is also expressing the interiors of the terminal, because the second part, which will be built in phase 2 and phase 3, is not present yet. Finally, in phase 3, we can remove the navigation tower, the new airport plaza component comes on board, and the composition can be completed, and the final geometry of the building is the one that you see in these images. An airport project, in an airport project, the optimization of the passengers flow and the optimization of the baggage offload are 2 of the main drivers. So everything is designed against passengers flow, and this project being phased and articulated in different phases creates the challenge of making the passengers flow efficient in every different phase. For instance, just to make an example, this is phase 1 of the terminal with 5 belts for reclaiming baggages. Passengers are arriving into the space, they collect their luggages and then follow with the dashed black arrow that pass through the customs in red, and then they walk through the arrival hall and then out of the airport. In phase 3, this layout is completely rearranged because of the need of implementing 2 additional belts to reclaim luggages. So that custom is moved to the left and the arrival hall is moved farther to the left where the navigation tower presence was removed, and now we can finally extend the building and connect it to the airport plaza where people will be directed. Airport plaza, it's a commercial space, so we want to bring the people to the commercial area before exiting the terminal, and connecting possibly to the underground, where the future extension of the Rail Baltica will be creating a new station. This is an image of the interior of the baggage reclaim room with this huge skylight with light filtering from above, but also with the connectivity directly to the city, because the facade is transparent and you can see outside, which is quite atypical for an airport. The use of the natural light, which is filtering down from the skylights, is one of the main drivers of the project, and we create this series of pitched rooftop with light filtering down and reaching also the most internal areas of the airport. And this connectivity with the city for us was very important since the initial stages of the design. It's quite atypical for an airport to have a baggage reclaim room which is not enclosed. In this case, we wanted to open it up to the city and create this inside-out connection. Not only visual connectivity with the city, but also between different parts of the building itself. Again, the baggage reclaim room with the zoom in on the offices, which are highlighted here in pink, which are overlooking into the space to create this cross references and connection between the public and the private space. The offices here are highlighted in this section in blue and are overlooking to the right onto the baggage reclaim area, and to the left facing into the gates, the departure gates, of which we can see a rendering here with again the offices on top facing into it, with the light filtering from the skylight and from the facade, because on the left we have a beautiful view of the apron. The modularity and the repetition of elements is another driver of the design. Being an airport, of course, it has to be very efficient and it has to be possible to be rearranged in the future. So we built the overall structure with the addition of this very similar, in some cases equal elements. And this strategy reflects also in the structural pattern with this very simple and repetitive steel structural elements, with light again filtering up down from the skylights, and again the idea of this rhomboidal element which remembers the heritage of the local culture and that wants to create this very strong identity linked to the modularity of the system, but also for passengers arriving by plane. This strong identity is very much important for us. Yeah, the airport plaza, which is this building with connected to all terminals. You can see an exploded view of it here. It will become the main heart of the airport with a double height space surrounded by commercial balconies and connected to both arrival terminal and departure terminal, and will become the new heart of the old airport. You can see an image here again with the pitched rooftop and light coming in from above, and escalators going down to the Rail Baltica in the middle of the image. The sustainability is one of the main drivers too. The competition brief was imposing to target to good or very good BREEAM sustainability targets, and we actually target to get excellent. And by doing this, we want to implement a number of sustainable measures with clean energy production, water management, acoustic comfort, the use of this skylight to bring natural light, and of course a lot of photovoltaic panels on top of the rooftop, and a number of shading strategies to control the overheating of the internal space. And yes, I think we can close it here with this beautiful, since we are approaching Christmas, this beautiful winter view of the airport. Thank you, everyone.